My affair partner thought it would be funny to send my husband a video of us together, but when I rushed home to fix the damage, the house was empty. A chilling note lay on the floor. "You're going to regret this." My hand shook as I opened my phone and saw the devastating email he had just sent to my boss. "I won't waste your time defending myself. I cheated. I lied. I got caught." What I didn't expect was how far Rick would go to burn my life down. We lived in Cedar Park, Texas. A decent town outside Austin. Quiet. Safe. Not a place where you expect your life to fall apart in one afternoon. I've been married to Rick for 9 years. We have 2 kids, Hannah, who's 8, and Jake, who just turned 5. Rick's a good man. He works hard. Runs a small HVAC company with his brother. He comes home covered in dirt and grease but still helps with homework, still makes time for us. He wasn't perfect, but he never lied to me. Never cheated. I was the one who wrecked everything. I met Ryan at a marketing conference in Austin. He worked for a company we were trying to partner with. He was loud, confident, kind of reckless. I was bored. Tired. The kids, work, house stuff, it all felt like I was drowning slowly, and no one noticed. Ryan saw me. Or at least, I thought he did. The affair started fast. Hotel rooms. Long lunches. A trip I lied about taking with coworkers. It went on for almost 8 months. I knew it was wrong. I told myself I'd stop. I just never did. Then last week, Ryan did something I'll never forgive. He thought it was funny. He recorded a video of us. I didn't know. I never would have agreed. He texted it to Rick while I was in a meeting. No warning. Just send it. The message said, "Hope this clears things up. She's been busy." At first, I didn't know. My phone was on silent. I came out of the meeting and saw 3 missed calls from Rick. I called back, straight to voicemail. Then Kathy, our neighbor, called. "Hey, I think something's wrong. Rick's truck is gone, but your door is wide open. Are you okay?" I don't even remember the drive home. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the wheel. I got there and knew right away something was wrong. The garage was empty. The kids' bikes were gone. The living room, stripped. Couch, TV, rugs, gone. Their rooms? Empty. Drawers pulled out. Toys gone. Even the pictures on the wall, gone. All that was left was a note in the center of the floor. "You're going to regret this." No name. No mess. Just that. I felt dizzy. I sat down and cried. I didn't even notice the buzzing from my phone until minutes later. It was an email. From Rick to my boss CC, Director of HR, VP of Marketing, Regional President, and more names I didn't even recognize. Subject: Your employee's behavior, urgent. He attached the video. In the body of the email, he wrote, "This is how your senior brand manager spends her workdays. She's been using company time, company resources, and your reputation to conduct a months-long affair with a vendor. If this is the type of person you want representing your company, that's your call. I just thought you should know." I read it 3 times. My stomach flipped. My throat closed up. I emailed my boss before they could even respond. Apologies, explanations, desperation. No reply. I called Rick again. Straight to voicemail. I texted 100 times. Nothing. Then I called his brother. He answered, but the second he realized it was me, he hung up. My mother-in-law blocked me. My own parents didn't know what was going on yet, but I didn't even know what to tell them. Rick had erased himself, and taken the kids with him. I drove around looking for him. I checked his shop. Closed. I went to his brother's house. No answer. I went to the kids' school. They hadn't been there that day. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor, in the middle of that empty living room, staring at the note. I thought about everything I had just lost. But I had no idea that Rick wasn't finished. The next morning, I was woken up by a loud knock at the front door. I hadn't slept. My eyes were swollen, my mouth dry, and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I opened the door and saw a man in a gray polo shirt with a badge on his belt. "Danielle Monroe?" he asked. I nodded. "I'm with CPS. We received a report regarding possible child neglect and unsafe conditions in the home." I felt like I was in a dream. "What? My kids aren't even here. They're with their father, Rick Monroe." The man pulled out a tablet and started tapping. "The report we received said your home was abandoned, unsafe, and that your behavior had been erratic and potentially harmful to the children. We're going to need to follow up." I just stood there shaking. "Who reported it?" "I can't disclose that. But I do have an order for a welfare check, and we'll be contacting both parents involved." My voice cracked. "He's doing this. He's setting me up." The agent didn't say anything. He walked in, looked around the stripped rooms, took some notes, then said someone would be in touch. He handed me a card and left. That's when I realized I wasn't just being punished. Rick was coming for everything. Later that day, I checked my email again. I had 5 replies from people at work. Some were cold and formal. Others were just short and stunned. By the end of the day, I was locked out of all company accounts. HR finally called and said they were placing me on leave, pending review. They wanted a statement. I gave them one, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. I tried to call my mom. She didn't answer. Later, she texted me. "Rick called us. We're taking some space until we understand what's going on." That night, my doorbell rang again. This time, it was a process server. Rick had filed for divorce. Full custody. Immediate restraining order. He said I was emotionally unstable, sexually reckless, and posed a risk to the children. He included statements from coworkers, old texts he must have dug up, even screenshots from months back when I vented about being exhausted and wanting to disappear. He used everything. The worst part? I couldn't find him. I hired a PI. Spent money I didn't have. The guy came back after 3 days with a report. Rick had moved out of state. Arkansas. Rented a house under his cousin's name. Enrolled the kids in a small private school under a different last name, his mother's maiden name. He'd gone ghost. And he'd taken them with him. The private investigator told me I could try to fight it, but it'd be ugly. Courts don't like parents who cheat. Especially when the other side is making you look like you've lost your mind. But I wasn't giving up. I might have destroyed my marriage. But Rick was about to learn something about me. I could lie. I could cheat. I could make bad choices. But I could also fight. A week later, I was sitting in my lawyer's office in Austin, drained and numb. Her name was Marcy, a tough woman with short hair and a clipped voice. She didn't sugarcoat anything. "You're in a bad spot," she said. "He filed first. He's got the kids. He's painting you as unstable. And that video, it's poison. Judges don't like drama. They like stability. But he kidnapped them," I said. "He left the state without telling me. Doesn't that matter?" Marcy shook her head. "He didn't kidnap them if he has joint custody and claims it was to protect them from harm. You gave him all the ammo he needed." I wanted to scream, cry, punch something. Instead, I signed forms. Paid a retainer I couldn't afford. Then I drove home to the empty house and stared at the blank walls. The next twist came the following day. I got an email from a reporter. Subject: urgent. Possible story. He worked for a local online news site. Said someone had tipped them off about a corporate scandal involving a married executive, vendor kickbacks, and an inappropriate relationship that ended in a scandal. He said he wanted to hear my side before they ran the piece. It wasn't just revenge anymore. Rick had gone public. I called Ryan in a panic. He didn't answer. I tried again. Nothing. Finally, he messaged me 2 hours later. "You brought this on yourself. I didn't ask to be dragged into it. I've got a job to protect too. I stared at the screen. The man who'd blown up my marriage now wanted distance. But I wasn't the only one Rick was gunning for. I found out later that Rick had forwarded the video and email chain to Ryan's boss. His company put him on leave. He was now scrambling, trying to cover his own tracks. Then, something strange happened. I got a call from a blocked number. I usually ignore them. But I answered. It was Rick's cousin. The one whose name he used to rent the Arkansas house. He sounded nervous. I didn't know the full story when I agreed to help him. But the kids, they keep asking about you. And I thought you should know, Rick's not doing great. He's not himself. What does that mean? I asked. He hesitated. He drinks a lot more now. He locks the kids in their rooms when he's angry. Yells. My wife's scared he's gonna snap one day. That was the crack I'd been waiting for. I got my lawyer on the phone. We filed an emergency hearing to bring Rick back into the state and investigate the kids' safety. It was a long shot, but it was something. But while that process started grinding forward, another bomb dropped. My company officially fired me. They cited misuse of company time, gross misconduct, and reputation damage. I lost my health insurance, my severance, everything. And that's when I did something I didn't think I'd ever do. I called Ryan again. And this time, I didn't ask, I told him. You dragged me into this. You used me. Then you ran. You want this to end? You help me. His voice was cold. What do you want? I didn't blink. Everything you know about Rick. Every message, every screenshot, every mistake he's made since this started. There was a long pause. Then Ryan said something that changed everything. He paid me to send that video. What? I didn't record it by accident. He asked for it. A week before. Offered me $5,000 to send it to him. He said he wanted proof. Said he needed a reason. I sat there, the phone hot in my hand. It had never been about the affair. Rick wanted to blow up our life. And now I had proof. That phone call with Ryan lit a fire in me I didn't know I still had. $5,000. Rick paid Ryan to send the video. He set me up. Not because I was innocent, I wasn't. But because he wanted full control. He wanted to disappear with the kids, destroy my name, and look like the hero doing it. I got Ryan to put it in writing. Emails. Messages. Even a bank statement that showed a wire transfer from Rick's business account to Ryan 3 days before the video was sent. I gave everything to Marcy. This changes things, she said. It's still ugly, but now it's ugly on both sides. The emergency custody hearing took 2 weeks to get in front of a judge. 2 long, brutal weeks. Rick showed up in court looking like hell. Unshaven. Hollow. Like he hadn't slept in days. He had a lawyer with him, but the minute Marcy presented the proof, Ryan's statement, the money trail, the CPS warning from his cousin, we saw the shift. The judge was not impressed. Rick's lawyer tried to spin it. He was reacting to infidelity. He was trying to protect his children. But the judge interrupted. By bribing a man to set up his wife? By fleeing the state under a false name? By endangering his own children? In that moment, I saw Rick flinch. The judge didn't hand me the kids that day, but he ordered supervised visits only for Rick. And the kids? They were flown back that same week, to stay with my sister under temporary guardianship while the case played out. I got to see them for the first time in over a month. Jake ran into my arms and cried. Hannah didn't speak for the first 10 minutes. Just stared. When she finally said something, it broke me. Daddy said you left us forever? I cried so hard I couldn't speak. But that wasn't the end. A week later, Rick's cousin gave a full statement to CPS. Said Rick had been drinking every day. That he'd yelled at Hannah so hard one night, the neighbor called the police. They never followed up, but the report helped. Then Ryan's company fired him. They investigated the payment, found out he'd accepted money to sabotage a professional relationship, and let him go. He tried calling me after. Sent a few desperate messages. But I never answered. I had nothing left to say to him. Meanwhile, Rick's HVAC business took a nosedive. Turns out, destroying your ex-wife's career in front of the entire community comes with consequences, especially when your customers are local families who don't take kindly to child endangerment and court drama. He lost contracts. His brother pulled out. Eventually, Rick filed for bankruptcy. My job? Gone. My name? Still a mess online. But I started freelancing. Small projects, under a new name. Quietly rebuilding. 6 months after the hearing, we had our final court date. I was granted full legal custody. Rick got twice a month supervised visits for 1 year. Then it would be reevaluated. The judge said his actions were manipulative, premeditated, and emotionally harmful to the children. When it was over, I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just sat there, breathing. I messed up. I betrayed someone who loved me. But Rick didn't just leave. He planned to break me. And he almost did. Almost. Now I live in a small apartment on the edge of Round Rock. The kids share a room. We eat dinner at the table. We talk a lot more than we used to. I still go to therapy. I still carry guilt. But I'm back on my feet. Rick hasn't called in months. And if he ever tries to come back, he'll find someone much colder than the woman he married. I don't forget. And I don't forgive.